Hello, everyone. This is Muting is Bullying. Welcome to the MIB. Okay, and this is a things that we talk about some high controversial subjects over here, particularly the injustice against black men or men in general. Okay, you don't even have to be black, but particularly black one. I am your host, RA, and I'm going to be talking about Emmett Till, as I have talked about Emmett Till for the past few years, and I'm going to be talking about the latest. Okay, so it says this. The Emmett Till's cousin had filed a lawsuit, okay, against his accuser, Carolyn Donham, okay, served the uncovered 1955 warrant for her arrest. Emmett Till's cousin filed the lawsuit with Mississippi sheriff in hopes to have the white woman responsible for his kidnapping. Now, I find it to be problematic that they got Ghislaine, but they would not get Carolyn Donham. She's in the South. And still to this day, some people in the South do not want a white woman convicted on setting up a black man for his murder. But anywhere else in the world, well, they want some justice. I find that to be problematic. I find it to be problematic here on these YouTube streets that other black men are not even talking about it. Emmett Till was 14 years old and he was accused of whistling at Carolyn Donham into the store. Now, we found out that to be a lie over the years, and we found that to be troubling, considering the fact she was a full-grown woman and he was visiting a family member from Chicago. Okay, in the 1955s, and I just think to myself, my mother was about 2 months old when this had occurred. And even though I'd never met this man and he died many decades before I was born, I still cry. I still cry because of the injustice that we see today. I cry for the fact that most of our black people are so unintuned and so uneducated that we don't know to get mad. I cry that the oppositions who think that I speak on R. Kelly and Bill Cosby don't even speak on the Emmett Till situation. They can't even join forces with me to make sure he gets justice because of what my personal beliefs is when it comes to the R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. I find that to be troubling that many other celebrities are not coming forward to gather up all the information to make sure that this person goes to court. The accuser, predator, liar that causes his death is still 89 years old. But yet, when it comes to Bill Cosby, who was close in age with her, he found himself have to fight lawsuits after lawsuits about many decade-old cases that we cannot, and he cannot even prove what happened to this day. It is unfair and it's not a democracy. They say believe all women, but I believe justice, I believe in evidence. If you can't prove what happened to you many decades ago, why even bring it up? But this woman right here will never face justice because the prosecutor and the government in this case does not want her to go to jail. A woman who accused a black man of whistling at her, whose husband dragged him out of his family's house, took him to a lake and beat him to death. A 14-year-old boy he found to be threatened, and this was a fully grown woman. And yet no one in the society is outraged about this. I find myself crying even for many years talking about this Emmett Till situation as I compared it with R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Many think that the scenarios are different. They are absolutely right because Bill Cosby accusers and R. Kelly accusers are alive. Unfortunately, Emmett Till, well, we know what the outcome is, okay? We know the outcome of Emmett Till. And he doesn't have the glory or the blessing to be still alive. This is what he looked like. None of these accusers look like this. None of them. He is dead. He was beaten beyond oblivion. And many people sitting up there thinking it was 1955, but it's so funny that when it comes to sexual assault, it's the worst thing in the world. But a black man's life is priceless. It's so priceless, and it's more so priceless to other black people. Sometimes I think I'm the only one that really cares about the fact she should be brought to justice. I feel as if though all these judges should not even bring up charges no more on Bill Cosby until they can get Emmett Till's accusers brought to justice. They fight so hard not to bring her to justice. They fight so hard to make sure that this white woman is not indicted and will never serve time in jail for this crime right here as you see. He's missing an ear. His face and brain was beaten out of his head. It's so unbelievable, the hatred back then of black men. And so ironic how us own black men have adopted this hatred towards each other. Now, even I on Spitting Fire's channel have sat up there and did commentary about other black men fighting each other. Yeah, it is entertaining, but they're still alive. And I'm hoping that they stay that way. But when it comes to sexual assault and women and these Victims' Rights Act, that trumps this. And I find that to be troubling and disturbing. I find it to be disturbing that the Me Too movement ain't even said anything. I find it to be disturbing that a woman have to sit up there and be over her son's casket like this. The pain that she must have felt almost 7 decades ago. And now she's gone to glory to be with him. And no one has ever spoken up on no other platforms about the Emmett Till situation. Not in depth like Spitting Fire or here on the MIB. I find it to be troubling that you got big bloggers who can talk about R. Kelly and talk about the mix-ups and these accusers and these lying accusers, and I said it, but they won't speak on Emmett Till. They won't speak on the injustice that it is. They can speak on the fact that they were sexually assaulted and things that happened to him, but they won't speak on this young boy who is dead. His genitals were cut off. And yet that's a sexual assault, and you don't hear nothing about Me Too, Time's Up, or any other liberations movement. I find it to be problematic that a judge in the Eastern District of New York can sentence R. Kelly to 30 years with victims that are alive and well, that are writing books and trying to get movie deals and half naked on social media, not portraying themselves as victims. And I find it to be problematic that they get all this money, and yet the victims of Emmett Till or the family that is remaining had yet to receive any money. I find it interesting. I find it interesting that no civil rights person like Al Sharpton or anybody else has come out and even spoke on it. This is problematic to me. The fact that they're still trying to get justice to this day and their time is limited because the accuser right here is already 89 years old. Her days is numbered. Now, nobody is promised tomorrow, not even I and not even you, and many others have died a lot younger than 89. But if we're going to base it on age, we know time is ticking. And although she may not serve a day in jail, and no one is going to pay for his death or murder, and we have a government that refused to put a white woman in jail for slaying or causing the slaying of a black boy even to this day, but they can always find charges in time to put a black man away, particularly a high-profile one, such as Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, and Young Thug. I find it to be interesting that these men can be charged with RICOs, and yet they can't charge her with a RICO for the kidnapping of Emmett Till when he was visiting his family in Mississippi in 1955. I find it to be interesting that there is not a RICO charge for her. I find it to be interesting that when the prosecutor went to the grand jury, they played down the incident so much so, but when it came to R. Kelly, they put people in the indictment that they didn't even charge in the case, and it was okay to do so. I find it to be interesting that people are not sitting up there calling for R. Kelly's judge in the Eastern District of New York to be, problemsome in his sentencing mandate. Okay? So me here on Spitting Fire years ago, I did a petition designed for the FBI to get Carolyn Donham arrested. They tried to get an indictment going and it didn't. And unfortunately, this petition is about 3 or 4 years old. And even though it's supposed to be at 1,500 signatures, I only got 1,006 to this day. I find that to be problematic that people do not care about the outcome of a young black boy. But when it comes to little black girls in the neighborhood that says that they are raped with no proof and their action is to the contrary, then we want to sit up there and lynch our own men. I find that these cliches of I have a daughter and I have all this and that. But I find it to be problematic that nobody care about their sons. Nobody care about Bill Cosby because he's somebody's son. Nobody care about Young Thug because he's somebody's son. Nobody care about R. Kelly because he's somebody's son. But had you be a young girl in the neighborhood in black, You can charge a man with rape without any proof. And we know that young girls lie about sexual assault as well. So the all slain believe women is a lie in itself. I find it to be interesting that these things happen. So I hope you find the heart to open up your wallets and donate to the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation. Okay, please, because I've donated $25 and there's more to come. And I hope you do the same. Because we have to get justice somehow. He needs justice somehow. Men are under attack. And if we sit up there and want to believe women and not believe men, we're going to help them divide us as a culture. They already divided us years ago when they put drugs into our community. And took fathers out of the home and put them in jail. And that's what they're doing today. The FBI is bringing more charges on celebrity black men, particularly heterosexual, particularly those who have this playboy image. The only thing that is not threatening to the white man or the government today is a feminine black man. And as long as he's feminine, he is not a threat. But if he's masculine, he is. And that is problematic. So please, help and open up your wallet and donate to the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation today. Thank y'all for tuning in on the MIB. I am your girl, R.A. Fire out.